Good. All right, everyone. Hey, that's what I wanted to talk to you about, is what we're supposed to do in front of a camera. Too many of us figure it's just like taking pictures or you're smiling and say, hi, everyone, I'm here. But sometimes we have technical difficulties. For instance, the echo you just heard in the background. So it's really difficult if you're doing it yourself. And a lot of us want to do everything ourselves because we think we know better. But it's very helpful to have a technical expert, or at least someone who thinks they are. Ain't that right, Maria?
Well, you don't trust me. You just walk away when I'm fixing it. So I don't know about you.
That's beautiful. But the point is, a lot of us get in front of the camera, especially when we're interviewing someone, we constantly want to stare at the camera, rather than looking at the person we're talking to or who's talking to us. You know how important that is to be casual, not just casual, but be professional? You know, it's a good idea to sit towards the person you're talking to, look at them, acknowledge them, not just look at the camera and smile, like Maria Pereza does sometimes, to sit there and smile. It's a crazy world we live in. And another thing I want to talk to you about is a lot of us do our filming in front of a laptop. Hey, it's convenient. And with the programs on the computer now, it just makes sense. But remember, a lot of us are looking at the screen when we're talking and forget that the camera's right above the screen. So when you're looking at it, or people are looking at it, so it looks like we're looking down. It's important to look at the camera, not the screen, not other things, if you're talking one-on-one to your audience. You see, today I'm here by myself, and actually my camera is probably about 2 feet higher than the computer because it's on a tripod. I'm not looking down at the computer, I'm looking eye level with the camera. Some of the tricks we need to learn. Now, a lot of people think they need to wear a lot of bling bling when they're up here talking, unless you're trying to be fabulous with JC or someone like that. You don't need all this bling bling because people want to hear your message, not look at your jewelry, your fancy earrings, unless of course that's what you're promoting. So be careful with the bling bling. And even so, you know, hey, I love to wear glasses, and it's cool, and maybe I look like Ric Flair, a great wrestler. He's a pretty good guy. But the point is, there's a time and place for everything. Something I need to bring up also is a lot of us think we're good communicators. That's a bunch of hogwash. Most of us could talk ourselves out of a paper bag. Now, I had some training through Toastmasters and some other leadership programs I've been involved with over the years. But it's real important that we limit, or better yet, eliminate, get rid of our filler words. So, you know, those kind of words that get in the way of our real message. And gestures are great too, yeah, but less is usually more. It all depends. A lot of us think, you know, that I tell you is we have to talk everything with our hands. In some cases, that's correct, especially if you're cooking and throwing pasta or pizza in the air. Totally understandable. But it's important, like I said, look at the camera, keep the bling bling to a limit, and learn how to speak clearly and distinctively. Too many of us, myself included, have a habit of mumbling, kind of talking under our breath, kind of slurring our words, kind of not distinct when we're trying to make an important point. Okay, sue me, you might say. But you look at those professionals, those actors on TV, sure they're acting, but most of them studied acting. They study when to let their voice out and speak louder from the diaphragm where everyone can hear them, which they do in theater, and other times to learn just to be more natural because they're mic'd. And that's a good point, to be more natural and just be yourself. But limit those words. And what about microphones? Do you know how many people do not know how to use a microphone? We see it time and time again where speakers are in front of an audience and they'll hold the mic down here. Now this works for me because I know how to let my voice out. But the majority of people need to hold the microphone a little closer to their mouths. And that's another good point. If you're going to be in front of a camera, in the theater, heck, interviewing for a job, practice. Practice what you're going to say. Practice how you're going to hold a microphone if you have to. Practice looking into the camera or the eyes of the person you're talking to. Now, we hear all the time, you want to be sincere, you look them in the eyes and you give a firm handshake. None of that flimsy, fishy handshakes. Come on, that's ridiculous, especially for men. And even women, we don't like that. And understand, you don't have to crush someone's hand either. We need to be polite, somewhat assertive, but more important, confident. Confident in front of the camera, confident outside of the camera. So what do? Sure, we're looking at our laptop, we push play, or we push record, and we hope everything comes out all right. It's a real good idea to practice over and over again before you do the real thing. Like for instance, the beginning of this particular episode I did, we had a sound issue and kind of walked away because we didn't practice. But again, that's part of not the drama, but that's part of the effect I was trying to bring. Because if we don't practice, we don't know what's going on. And I love to do recordings. I love to do recordings, and we do it over and over again because sometimes you can edit them. Live is a whole different story. In fact, just a couple days ago, I was at Venice Beach, California, doing a live video on Facebook, real simple social media, on Facebook to show some of the artists in the street. Some of the shows they had going on, jumping, the acrobatics, and it was great. But I failed to push record now or go live now because I'm not the technical guy. I don't normally do that. So I didn't practice. So probably a good 10 or 15 minutes of what I thought was being recorded was not. Sure, I could have left them in smiling and say life is good. But the audience, the people I intended to watch my video, did not quite get the full effect of what I was trying to share. And sometimes, if you do that often enough, you become known as half-ass, not sincere, don't care about your audience, don't pay attention to details. We all need to pay attention to details. Sure, a lot of us, some people, women have too much makeup or their hair is a lot of different ways, especially with women. They always want you to get their good side. And I don't even know what side that is. I have to tell you over and over again because most men couldn't tell the difference anyways. I understand if you have a blemish or a birthmark or a scar, you might not want it to be portrayed so much on the camera. And I understand that. Or if you have a stain on your shirt, you kind of want to keep the camera away from the stain. Hey, it's life, and we're people, and we do spill things on ourselves from time to time. For instance, you'll never see me wear a white shirt if I'm going out to eat, especially if I'm going to do a presentation afterwards. That just doesn't happen. And we need to know what color hats and shirts look good with our eyes, make us look more professional. And be careful what you're wearing. If you just don't care, you can wear anything and badmouth the world on your shirt. Remember, you're branding yourself each and every day, especially in front of camera. People are going to resonate with you and appreciate what you're telling them or showing them, and others are going to be offended. And that's a good point, too. Who cares? Who cares? We're still people. But if you're working for someone and they hire you to put on a good presentation, you damn well better care. Because you're not only representing yourself, you represent the company that you're associated with. For instance, this show is being directed by social media shows. Social media shows, I'm proud to be one of the founding members and co-director, and it's a wonderful position we're in. And before, when I was just doing my own show, or even with Maria and Joe Live TV, it was just us. We didn't care. It really didn't matter. But as we started this network and we started bringing in more and more shows and more people, we had to step up our game. You know, and still sometimes the voice might be lagging behind the video, or we might drop something, or worse yet, the sound goes out altogether. And it does from time to time. We still have to step up our game, and when we fall, jump back up, smile, and with confidence shake their hand and say, come join us. Come join us. We need your expertise. We need what you have to share with us so we can all become winners. Now, getting back to what do you do in front of a camera, lighting is real important. And sometimes when I'm in the studio, the lighting is obviously better than if I'm at home or even outside. You can have a glare from the sun in the background, or worse yet, no light at all, or very minimal. And that's important. That's why we practice those things and see what the lighting really looks like. Sure, we might have a beautiful picture in our living room of the flag behind us that we want to show in a lot of our videos. And that's great. And I recommend it most of the time. But make sure your picture's lit up well. Make sure you're lit up well. And you're setting a good example. And like I said, make sure you face the person you're interviewing, or if they're interviewing you, and you talk to them. And I need to share this with other hosts of different shows. Your job is to ask the questions and let your guest talk. Let them talk. Let them lead the way. You shouldn't interject unless they're running out of words or having some problems and struggling. But a lot of us interviewers have a tendency to talk over the interviewee. Like Maria, you hear when she talks over me all the time. It's crazy, but she loves to do that. And a lot of us figure it's our 15 minutes of fame and we have to talk over our guest. Do you want to lose a guest and lose some of your audience? You'll continue to do that. So it's better just to ask the questions. And if you have time, go over some of the questions before you're even filming so your guests will be more comfortable. Now, I like to ask a lot of open-ended questions to give my guests an opportunity to formulate their own ideas in their head and come up with their opinion on the matter. And we all have opinions, and it's okay, but there's always a time and place for bringing it out. I love the Pittsburgh Steelers football franchise. I have since a kid. But due to the recent NFL issues the past year or so, we're going to see if I'm going to go back to football or not. We may have our favorite teams, but you have to keep credibility. You have to have your confidence. You have to be credible. You have to have integrity when you're out here. We could joke about the Oakland Raiders or how the Cleveland Browns are doing, or sadly the Cleveland Cavaliers lost again. And that's kind of frustrating. And it's fun to joke and kid, but that's good. But, we want to make our guests feel like a guest. They're not necessarily a co-host unless later on they want to be part of the show. And that's great because we do more and more of this video, and when we look professional, you tend to attract like attracts like. So when you're professional, you're going to attract more professional people, guests, and potential people going to go into business with you, maybe start a show with you, maybe share some secrets that you may need to know to help you further success in your own life. So don't demean others. Don't look down on others. Don't, your nose and pretend you're better. We are all just people trying to make a difference, trying to be loved, and trying to be respected. But real importantly, make sure you have enough lighting. Make sure the sound is good. And by all means, look at that camera. Or your guest, if you have a guest. Not too much bling. And it's okay to walk in and step into your seat when you're doing what you need to do. But be on point and don't waste your time, especially your audience's time. We all have a limited hours in the day, and let's make the most of it. Go out there, be important, and bring someone up, and you'll be rewarded in so many ways you haven't seen before. Well, just to let you know, this has been In the Office with Joseph Skoda. Come see my shows on social, on the different social media shows network and some other places you're going to find us, because we have more and more shows and more to share with you. And we're learning by the recommendations, advice, comments that you leave us. Social media shows, great place to start. And I'll be talking to you soon. Have a great day. Bye now.